Howdy folks, Dr. Rob with Paragon Performance Physical Therapy here. I hope you're doing well. Today I would like to present to you a research study by Magera et al. From 2013 entitled The Structure of Performance of a Rock Climber. So the study covers the 7 primary traits that account for about 77% of any given climber's effectiveness on the wall, how successful and excellent they'll be. And the video is also going to cover my personal take on these 7 attributes, as well as tips and tricks, strategies, and tactics for you to incorporate into your own training, into your own daily life that will help bring you into closer alignment with these 7 primary traits. Make you a better climber. So what you might notice in the video you're about to watch is that there's brand markings from a previous endeavor that I had, the Savage Body. I love the original video. I don't want to rewrite it. I don't want to re-record it. I think the work is so nice. So I'm just gonna pull a Jawa maneuver here. Okay, I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna pick it up out of the sand, I'm gonna polish it off, I'm gonna repurpose it, give it a little tap on the fanny and send it merrily on its way. Hopefully to find a happy home integrating into the bioelectric wizard machine you keep inside of your skull, also known as your brain. All right, we're wasting time here. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rob. Welcome to the Savage Body. And today I want to talk to climbers. Specifically, I want to talk to you about your bodies. More specifically, I want to talk to you about the 7 components found by Magera et al. In 2013 that can be used to describe up to 77% of a climber's ability to perform as a climber. Now, the goal of the study was to look at what variables best predict success in a sport rock climber, irregardlessly of climbing style. Now, what they did is they took 30 male Polish climbers with a median age of 27 years, median experience of about 8.4 years of climbing, and a median weekly training of about 10 hours. So, the study came up with 7 parameters that predict 77% of a climber's ability to perform successfully on the wall. And they are as follows: maximal relative finger strength, mental endurance, climbing technique, obviously, isometric finger endurance, number of errors on a complex reaction time test, Ape Index, and VO2 max during arm work at the anaerobic threshold. We'll talk about all 7 in brief. Ready? Here we go. Number 1 is maximum relative finger strength. And this is consistently considered the most important variable of all the variables, of all 7, of all 45, of all God knows how many. If you got wimpy fingers compared to your body mass, you're gonna suck. I'm a climber, right? By the way, Rob Jensen, DPT, pew, 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 climber, also a climber, pew, 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 pew. Way too heavy to be good at it, pew, 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 has giant legs, pew, 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 pew. His hands are all messed up because he climbed too much, pew, 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 pew. If you have very, very strong hands, but you weigh a ton, not very effective, right? Versus if you have very strong hands and you weigh little, 140 pounds with the grip strength of a silverback gorilla, you're gonna be way more successful than a silverback gorilla with the weight of a silverback gorilla. There's 2 ways to get at improving this variable, okay? One is losing weight. For me, that would work. I have plenty of holiday pounds to lose, and I've always tended to be a heavier kind of guy, which is maybe why I'm not that great of a climber. I still have fun, but I'm not that good at it because I'm way heavier than anybody should be. Very heavy. I'm so heavy. Most climbers, I would say, are svelte. Or you could say lithe, you could say panther-like. Maybe you don't have a lot of weight to lose. I would never recommend for an already light female climber to lose weight to improve their relative finger strength for fear of the female athlete triad, which can lead to, amenorrhea, osteoporosis, kidney damage, poor performance in the sport. It's a bad way to go. If you're already a relatively lightweight person, the way to improve your maximal relative finger strength is not to lose weight, it's to gain strength. What you're looking at is you're looking to climb more difficult routes that have handholds that maybe you suck at. I was terrible at crimping until I started crimping all the time, and now I would say that it's my strongest hold, aside from a jug. Do pull-ups, do weighted pull-ups, do variations of pull-ups and weighted pull-ups. Do asymmetrical pull-ups on a hangboard where you have one hand on the jug, one hand in a pocket, one hand in a pocket, one hand in a smaller pocket, and just vary your training up like that. You can also use the campus board, you can use the moon board, you can use the system wall, and then otherwise just basic stuff in the weight room. Deadlifts are a great way to go. Farmer walk is a great way to go. Any kind of rowing exercise, a bent over dumbbell row or a bent over barbell row or a TRX row, those are all gonna be good ways of improving your grip strength because you gotta hold on to those weights like crazy. The second parameter was mental endurance. How does one improve mental endurance or one's ability to tolerate things that suck? One of the joys of climbing is that it can suck so bad. It's like a second kind of fun thing, like camping in the winter when your tent gets soaked through and you're freezing and it's miserable. Second kind of fun is when you survive, when you get through the thing, and then you get to tell the story. With climbing, mental endurance is a major predictor of how well you're gonna do as a climber. So how do you train mental endurance? First off, climb like hell. Push yourself. If there's a route that you're avoiding in the gym, ask yourself why you're avoiding it. Whatever excuses you're making for yourself, ask if they're valid excuses and just go for it. It's gonna suck. That's fine. Start pushing yourself. Start pushing yourself towards more difficult routes. There are millions of things you can do that just suck. Eat spicy food. Eat food that you don't ever want to eat because it's gross. Eat chicken feet. Eat an octopus beak. I don't care. Take cold showers. Wake up earlier in the morning. Play Monopoly. That's the worst game ever. Play Risk against your older brother. You could watch the movie Cats a couple times in a row. You could watch Star Wars 1 through 3 or 7, 8, and 9. You could walk on Legos. Embrace the suck. Variable number 3 is climbing technique. Improving your climbing technique is obviously going to make you a more effective climber. That's a very, very broad topic and it's outside of the scope of this video. Do a YouTube search, talk to a coach, talk to a friend, talk to somebody at the gym, and get pointers. Become a better climber. It's kind of that straightforward. The 4th variable is isometric finger endurance. Isometric finger endurance is a person's ability to hold their hand in a fixed position against fixed resistance. Training isometric finger endurance, that's another thing you can train just by climbing longer routes, climbing more slowly. That would suck. That's a way to build mental endurance, and isometric finger endurance is just every hold that you get onto, hold it for 3 seconds longer, or 2 seconds, or 1 second, or 10 seconds. You can also do pull-ups, you can also work on a hangboard. Basically, the more time you spend on the wall, the more you're gonna be training that isometric endurance. Parameter number 5 is the number of errors on a complex reaction time test. The complex reaction time test is a way to measure a person's abilities to react to a stimulus accurately. As far as training a person's performance on the complex reaction time test as it would relate to a climber, I haven't really seen anything like that. 2 obvious ways are making sure you make better judgments about where you're gonna put your hands and feet, and learning how to make those judgments more quickly. A simple drill that you can do to make sure you're putting your hands and your feet in good positions, doing a sticky hand drill or a silent foot drill, right? So the sticky hand drill is just get your hand on the hold, and that's where it's gotta stay. You don't get to reposition and put it in a different position that's more advantageous. You don't get to fiddle around and find little grooves and stuff. Is you look, you put your hand on the hold, and that's where it's gonna stay until you're up above that hold. Silent feet is a similar sort of thing, and you can do a sticky foot, silent foot drill as well, where wherever you put your foot, that's where it stays. But the silent foot is making sure that when you're moving your feet from hold to hold, you're not making any sound. They're not popping off. They're not scuffing or slatting or digging or grinding. It helps improve your judgment in where you're putting your hands and your feet. And then another way of improving your performance on this kind of test, you have to work on your reaction time. It would almost be something like where you're climbing, and as soon as you get onto a hold, you have to close your eyes, and then as soon as you open them, you have to find that next hold as quickly as possible. And then if you want to combine those two, you close your eyes, as soon as you open them, you have to find the hold that you're going for, get it, and then you have a sticky hand, and then you still have your silent feet. Yeah, I think that would work. I think that would work. It'd be interesting at the very least. The 6th variable is Ape Index, which is essentially arm span over height. It's a ratio of how long your reach is compared to how tall you are. There's nothing you can really do to train your Ape Index. As a physical therapist, it makes me think though, there's a difference between having the range of motion, having the reach, and having control of the range of motion or having control of the reach. There's a distinction to be made between structural Ape Index, which is your skeleton and your muscles, right? What your body is actually shaped like, and then functional Ape Index, which is how far you can reach while still being in control, while still being able to maintain technique and strength and performance. I'm gonna think about that, and I'm gonna come back with another video on structural Ape Index compared to functional Ape Index. We'll see what comes up. Should be good. So the final variable is VO2 max during arm work at the anaerobic threshold, or it's the intensity of work a person can do before their level of blood lactate starts rising. So boiling that down, it's just how hard a person can work. How would a climber improve their VO2 max during arm work at anaerobic threshold? What you're looking at is you're looking at interval training, and then you're looking at continuous training. So for interval training, what you're doing is you're gonna find a training route, which isn't your max route, but it's gotta be close. It's gotta be a very, very challenging route. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna climb up, and then you're gonna come back down, and you're gonna rest for 4 times as long as it took you to get up to the top. So we'll say maybe 4 minutes. And then what you're gonna do is after that 4-minute rest, you're gonna do it again, and you're gonna do it again, and you're gonna do it again, and you're gonna do it again. And as you get better, then you rest for 3 minutes instead of 4. And as you get better, you rest for 2 minutes instead of 4. You're pushing your metabolic capacity. And then continuous training is find a route that is 1 or 2 grades easier than what you're used to climbing. Climb it 2 or 3 times, really push it, really let it burn. And then once that's done, take a rest, take a 4-minute rest, 5-minute rest, and then do it again, and then do it again. I like doing that at the end of a workout because basically it's like leaving it all up on the wall. Like it feels good in your guts, you know, especially when you have one of those days at the gym. When you have one of those climbing days where you're like, dude, I suck. I should stop climbing. I should never climb again. Where you just can't make anything happen. At the very least, what you can do is you can get on an easier route and just grind yourself down. Those are the 7 parameters that they say can explain up to 77% of a person's capacity to climb. There's 2 things that I want to say about it though. Number 1 is, hey climbers, we already have a tendency to do all the things. I don't want you to think about doing any of these things necessarily as a separate component. Find ways of slipping these into the things you're already doing instead of stacking them on top. And secondly, remember that recovery is a huge component to effective training. These can add a lot of stress to your body, which means that if you're gonna add things in, you have to make sure that you're doing more to recover. And I'm not talking about foam rolling. I'm not talking about drinking alkaline water. I'm talking about taking a little bit of time off. All those other things, these recovery shakes and supplements and devices and programs, the research is pretty spotty on those as far as them being effective at doing what people say they do. What they do find is consistently effective is getting enough sleep, eating properly, and taking time off from the gym. I don't want to have people adding these components into their workouts, stacking these on top of their workouts, and losing out on rest, where their body is already on the borderline of like, hey, if you make me work out a little bit harder, I'm gonna give you tendonitis. I'm gonna blow a finger pulley. You gotta recover. Okay, you have to do that. You have to do that. We all have to do that. You have to do that. Okay, that's it, folks. I'm done here. Remember, I'm in my office all day, every day. If you have questions, concerns, comments, you can send me a message. You can leave a comment below. And that's it. Enlighten the mind, elevate the spirit, and make savage the body.